All right, guys. Applications of percents. So I like our monkey there. I'm not a tax professional. I'm just monkeying around. And then, yo, dog, I hear you like tips. Here's 8%. Well, 8% is not a customary tip in the United States for a restaurant, but we'll get to that later in the video. We're going to do 6 problems together in this video. So hopefully it's not too long. And then you're going to work on basic percent problems and problems like this in the next couple classes. All right, first of all, turn on your logical brain. This is not going to be formulaic. Do step 1, do step 2, do step 3, do it again. This is going to be, first of all, what's the problem about? They're going to require you to think about what you already know about some of these things that adults think about on a daily basis. And all of these things involve money. Most of you probably like money. You'd like to have more of it. And these types of problems are ones that you'll have to think about in your life, both child and adult, because you know, some of you probably got maybe Christmas money, and you might spend that Christmas money. Excuse me. Anyway, so there's 3 things that we're going to deal with in this video: tax, tip, and discount. So think we have to pay sales tax. So it gets added to the price of the item. Okay, think here, we give the tip to the server. Okay, it is not a gift, it is not extra, it is how they make money. Remind me to go into that a little bit more in class so that you understand better how much people who wait tables, how much they get paid. So since we give that tip to the server, it is added to the bill. And finally, you save money when you have a discount, so it gets subtracted from the price. So these are the 3 basic things that we're dealing with in this video. Okay, the Sweater Shack is offering a 20% discount on sweaters. If the regular price of a sweater is $15, what is the discount? What is the sale price? So first we need to find 20% of 15. So when you do a problem like this, I want you to start by coming up with the find or the what is sentence. So we are going to find 20% of $15. Oh, dollars, not 15%. I started to make it 15% for some ridiculous reason. 20% is a multiple of 10. I'm going to use the 10% trick here. So 10% of $15 is, move your decimal point 1 space to the left, because remember, you're making the number smaller. You wouldn't say 10% of $15 is $150 now, would you? So that's $1.50. So that means 20% of $15 would be twice as big. Twice $1.50 is $3. Okay, so the discount is $3. If we were just asked, so that's how much you'll save on the sweater. So if we were just asked, how much will you save or what's the discount, the answer would be $3. The sale price, however, we have to then take that $3 and subtract it. So $15 minus $3 equals $12 for the jeans. Oh, sorry, sweater for a sweater, not jeans, sweater. All right, next problem. All right, this one is a little bit different. After a 15% off sale, some jeans were $11.50. How much were the jeans before the sale? Okay, so this is different, and I'm going to teach you a trick for problems like this. So we do not know the original price. We are going to use the percent proportion here, but we are not actually going to use the number 15 at all. I'm not going to use the 15%. If you took 15% off of the original price, what percent did you pay? You took 15% off, what percent did you pay? Well, 100% would be the whole price. If you take off 15%, we paid 85%. So we are answering the question, $11.50 is 85% of what number? $11.50 is the 85% because you only paid for 85% of the jeans because 15% was taken off. So that's what we're going to use to write our proportion. In a percent proportion, we got a 100 on the bottom right. We know our percent is 85. And we know our percentage is the $11.50 that we have for this particular problem. So now we have a missing value here, x. We're going to cross multiply and solve. So 85x equals 1150 times 100, which is 1,150, 2 decimal places. You can use a calculator for this one because it does not come out nicely. We're going to have to round it off. 1150 divided by 85 comes out to 13.529. Well, we can't keep the 9 because we are dealing with a dollar amount here. So we have to round this 2. In this case, because it's a 9, we round it up to a 3. And the original price of the jeans was $13.53. Kind of awkward. You would think the original price would be a rounded dollar amount like the $11.50, and then the other way around. Shows that somebody wrote this problem without thinking about the answer. I didn't write the problem. I just use ones that I can. Why reinvent the wheel over and over, you know? All right, so you can use this trick. If you know what the discounted price was, you can use this trick in order to find out what the original price was. How does it make sense that it's more? Well, this was discounted, so the original price would be more because it was before the sale. Your parents took your family out to dinner. Your parents wanted to give the waiter a 15% tip. If the total amount of the tip was $42, what should be paid to the waiter as a tip? Now, before we continue the problem, because most of you were not listening to me just now, you were reading this, which is pretty hilarious, but let me tell you right here, doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong, not how tips work, can't do that. Plus, what a jerk. Now that server has to cover that money. Even if it was crappy service, you don't deserve to take money away from the person waiting tables for you. But anyway, let's find our answer for this question. All right, we have $42 bill for dinner, and they want to give a 15% tip. Excuse me. This is another one that's good for our 10% trick. 10% of $42 is $4.20. 5% of $42, well, 5% is half of 10%. So what's half of $4.20? It's $2.10. If I now add those together, I get $6.30. Excuse me, and that is the tip that should be paid to the waiter. What's another way that I could do this question? Well, I could change my percent to a decimal. Let's switch colors so you can see different colors for different answers here. Change my percent to a decimal. And remember, percent is cents. So 15% is 15 cents, which is written 0.15. And I could multiply 0.15 times $42. And I don't need the 0.00, I know that. So 0.15 times 42, 6.3, or $6.30. And that is, again, our same tip amount we got down here. It doesn't ask the total amount that you're putting on your credit card. What would that be? What's the total amount they might be putting on the credit card, or the total amount of cash they're going to leave on the table? Well, it would be the 42 plus the $6.30, making the meal $48.30. All right, so if your family has got like 2 kids in it, that's probably about what you'd pay at Steak and Shake for 4 people. Just saying. Okay, just as an example. All right, 3 more. If the sales tax for the city of Los Angeles is 9.75%, how much tax would you pay for an item that costs $200? 9.75%. That seems large. But when you live in a city, you often have sales tax that just goes to the city. Then you have the state sales tax in addition to that. In the city of Norfolk, for example, when you go out to eat, I think it's 10% sales tax on your dinner bill, which is a lot. Okay, so the sales tax is 9.75%, and we want to find 9.75% of $200. I'm going to use multiplying. I'm going to use my percent equation, and I'm going to change this into a decimal. Remember that 9.75% changed to a decimal is 0.0975 because we divide by 100. So that's a little harder to do. Percent is cents. If you think about 9% is 9 cents. Oh, whoops. Don't get too excited. I fixed my mistake. Heh. All right, 9 cents. So that goes in the cents place, the hundreds place. And then you got your 7.5 coming after that. So to find 9.75% of 200, we're going to multiply. So 0.975 times 200. Hold on. I did it again. Come on, LeCompte. Some of you are probably getting so excited for mistakes you can point out, and then I fix them, and then you're all disappointed. 0.0975 times 200, $19.50. So the sales tax would be $19.50. What would be the total amount you actually have to pay for your $200 item, though? Well, it would be the item plus the $19.50, which is $219.50. Okay, not what they asked for. They asked for this. This is just an extra point. Okay, 2 more. There are 435 representatives in the U.S. House of Representatives. Approximately 12.2% of the representatives are from California. How many representatives from California are there in the U.S. House of Representatives? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. This is not sales tax, tip, or discount, but I thought it was a good question, and it's also a telling question for when you take civics next year. Geez. I know there's a lot of people in California, but 12.2% of our representatives are from California? Wow. Remember, in the House of Representatives, you're represented based on the size of your state. So Virginia has, I want to say 6. I'm sure Carly would make fun of me for being wrong about that, but who cares? But we're going to go ahead and find this answer. So pause it for a second and write down your find question, or your what is blank percent of blank question for this problem. Okay, did you do it? Okay, get an answer first. So find. All right, I'm going to finish it. 12.2% of 435. Again, this is a good candidate for my decimal, my percent equation. So changing that to a decimal is 0.122. And we're going to multiply by 435. Or percentage over base amount equals 12.2 over 100. Either way, I am going to get the same answer. Let's look at how we get the same answer. 0.122 times 435 is 5307. Now clearly we can't have 7/100ths of a representative. What is that, like his pinky toe? We can't have 7/100ths of a representative, so we're going to round that, as it said, to the nearest whole number. Please excuse me. Over here, we have 100x equals 435 times 12.2, which is 5,307. Do you see the relationship here? So I'm not doing anything different. It's just a different format. And again, it's 53 representatives from the great state of California. Okay, so I know it wasn't sales tax, tip, or discount, but it's still a percent question. So let's move on. Our last one is a tax question. So tax rate, sales tax rate, that's what we're dealing with here. So a small business spent $23,000 for taxable items last year. And I know you're thinking, like, small business, $23,000, that doesn't sound that small. We did over $100,000 in sales last year in our small business that only employs a couple people. So money adds up really quickly. If you think about an entire year's worth of business, it adds up really quickly. Small business spent $23,000 for taxable items last year. The tax rate was 9.5%. How much did the small business pay in taxes last year? You pay taxes, so this is income taxes, on the things that you purchase. Okay? So I think what this is actually saying is you spent this much money and this is the sales tax rate. So how much did they pay in sales tax? So that's fine. All right. So again, write your find question. Pause it and try it on your own. Kind of feel like humming the Jeopardy. Dee, 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 dee. No, that's really annoying. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Find 9.5% of 23,000. Okay? So again, I like to change it to a decimal. When I have a calculator, which in this class is pretty often, that tends to be an easier way to do the problem. So I'm going to multiply 0.095 times 23,000. I get $2,185. And here's something cool as a business. You can actually write off. And what that means is you don't have to pay that part. You don't have to pay taxes on that when you do your taxes because you already paid. That's tax you already paid. So you don't have to pay taxes on your taxes. Okay? All right, so they paid $2,185 in taxes. So remember to read the problems carefully. Okay? Remember to think about what you know about the world. Okay? Don't guess and don't grasp at straws. Just think about what you know about the world. And remember that these problems tend to change. So you have to be flexible in your thinking as well. You have to be ready to try something new. All right. See you guys in class.